Hello and welcome to our show, Film Talk with AJ Dean. I'm AJ Dean, your host, and tonight I have a super special and wonderful actress from Los Angeles. I have the special VIP guest, Christy Lee Hughes. She's from LA, a fabulous place. We're going to talk about all her great stuff that she's doing. Let's give her a super, super duper warm welcome. Hey, Christy Lee, I'm so happy. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm just grateful to be here and happy to be talking with you and on your show, and just hopefully something that I share can help somebody else who's watching.
I'm so happy that you're here. I'm absolutely thrilled. And like I said before, you're a delight. You're absolutely lovely. And, any casting directors out there, check out Christy Lee Hughes because she is phenomenal and she's absolutely wonderful in every way. Okay, let's get right into it, Christy Lee. Tell us and the audience about your background and why you became an actress.
Um, yeah, I actually wanted to be, I actually wanted to be an actress when I was a little kid. I was, I think, 3 or 4, I don't know which. My dad also tells this story still. I told it last year at Christmas. I was in a school play and it was a Christmas play. And again, I was 3 or 4 years old. And I remember vaguely, like, you know how when you have memories and they're kind of like blurry, but you do remember it. I do remember vaguely this happening. Um, the little boy on stage, I wish I knew who he was now. He blanked and just like forgot his lines. And in my little head, I thought, oh God, like I want to save him the embarrassment because I know what that's like to just go blank and like get nervous and just forget your lines and just like stand there and have people like look at you. And in my little head, I thought, if I go across the stage, and I whisper in his ear his lines, then nobody will know that he didn't remember them, and I'll save him the embarrassment and he can say the lines and nobody will know that I told him. Like in my head, that's how I had it worked out. And so I did that. I went across the stage and I whispered in his ear all of his lines and he said them. And I guess the audience, the school audience was laughing and the parents were laughing. And I didn't understand why they were laughing at the time. Like I just thought, oh, well, it's not really funny. It's a Christmas play. But I guess they knew. And so I walked back across the stage and then I just continued the play. And afterwards, it was really cute. Like people were saying stuff, and I still didn't really fully comprehend because I didn't gather that they knew that I told him. But I remember that moment as being like, wow, I'm on stage, I'm doing theater. I love doing theater. It's my first love. And I'm helping people. Like I'm doing theater, I'm performing, and I'm helping people. Like he was the first kid that I got to help. And I feel like that just like even now gives me goosebumps. So that was kind of the catalyst of like why I got into acting.
That's such a beautiful story. And
Yeah, I was 3 or 4. I was less than 5, and I don't know. It just I guess that was the moment that I just thought I could combine my talent and my to perform and entertain, but also like helping people feel so good. So if that's what it is, then that's what I want to do. And like I didn't get to pursue it right away. I kind of went around a weird trajectory in my life and went to college for something else, and didn't get there till later in my 20s, but it renewed itself and I said, well, oh, this is actually what I always wanted to do.
yes, this is your purpose. This is what you're supposed to do, Christy Lee. And um, so how did you get your name, Christy Lee?
It's actually my name. So yeah, it's weird. Like people do say stuff to it. I know it's a kind of a odd name, I guess, because people say like, oh, like what's your real name? But my actual name is Christy Lee. And so like I guess that's on my parents because they named Christy Lee. I know my mom wanted to name me Christy, and I guess like I can blame my dad for the Lee. I don't really know. I'll have to ask them, but that's actually my name.
I love it. I think it's a beautiful name and it's beautiful. Christy Lee Hughes. I mean, it's so great. Do you love it?
I mean I do like it. I've thought about changing it to something like different, but I don't know. I like it. I have no problem with it, so I just kept it.
I love it. I think it suits you and it's perfect. Speaking of the film industry, do you have any aspirations on being a director?
Um, well, if you asked me this like 3 years ago, the answer was no, like a hard no. But now I kind of get it because it's like, as an actor, which is again, my first love is theater and acting. But as a director, you get to see and envision the whole project. Whereas, like, as an actor, sometimes you're kind of just the last person to come in and kind of fill that spot. So there are certain things that I can see myself directing. And I was also inspired by Greta Gerwig because I feel like, and especially like with Barbie and everything blowing up, like that's amazing. What they did is amazing, especially for women. And just like taking that iconic doll that maybe gave a lot of us insecurities growing up, made us feel like we weren't tall enough, skinny enough, young enough, pretty enough, blonde enough. But now Barbie has told us like we can be anything. We can be any age, any gender, any race, any ethnicity, any height, any weight. Like I love including everyone. And I don't like to leave people in the dust. Like I don't like to leave people behind. So I feel like that as a director, I would have more control over doing on my own set. And I did kind of have that on these two short films, but I'm not sure for the future. If I was to direct, I wouldn't also wear the other hats because there's too many hats. And I feel like I would pick one or the other for each project and not do directing and acting because it's a lot at the same time, in my opinion.
Absolutely, 100%. But I'm really happy to hear that you are open to that path because, we need really beautiful, wonderful female directors. I mean, there's some great ones out there. And you mentioned Barbie, and I loved that. And I'm so proud of her that she got that because she did a great job.
I know it was truly. I don't even know if everyone, maybe some people really love it and get it, and a lot of people obviously do, but like there might be some people that still don't get it or resonate with it. But I think growing up with Barbie, it just it I don't know, it just filled the void of like, oh, you are enough. That's the message I got. Like you are enough the way that you are. You don't have to change yourself. You don't have to fit a mold. You don't have to be somebody that you're not. You don't have to do what everyone else tells you to do. You can be you and shine, and that will actually help other people. And I just actually cried at the movie theater watching Barbie. But I mean, I also cried at like Inside Out. So, I mean, I don't know. I guess I have a lot of empathy. And for me, that was like, she knocked it out of the park. They all did.
They really did. I agree. And I think it's historic what she did. So
Yeah.
I love it too. That's so sweet that you cried. You show that emotion. I can see. I know there was some really beautiful, touching moments, and that's what I love about film. But I'm going to switch it up right now. We're going to do a random question, and here we go. What is your favorite T-shirt or clothing?
Oh, actually, what, what I'm wearing right now, my favorite thing is to be comfortable. And I feel like we're always like restricted, especially in your like wardrobe or costumes. And so for me, like tank tops, sweatpants, like Viore has a good line of like, it's one of my only indulgences is like buying these very soft pants, they're joggers and like this sweatshirt and like all of these items, they're flexible, like you feel comfortable. It doesn't matter what kind of day you're having. And I can choose to whether I want to work out or maybe I don't, but I'm still in active wear. So it looks like maybe I did go to the gym or maybe I didn't. So yeah, I guess this.
You look amazing. And I love soft fabrics like that as well. So
It's
great
so
answer.
comfortable. Like soft, like I love soft. It just makes you feel comfortable. So it's my favorite.
I do too. And it's versatile. Like you said, you can go to the gym or you can just go out. Um, Really
Yeah.
great, great answer, Christy Lee. Um, as an actress and filmmaker, how do you know when your film is finished? And what I mean by that is, when do you think when you're creating something, or this can also pertain to your character, when is a study done?
Oh, wow. That's tough because so I actually I legitimately have OCD. I was diagnosed when I was like 15 years old. So I have to be careful to not over prepare, overwork, overthink it, overanalyze. So I think there's a balance when, and this happens more for me, like with theater, you can rehearse and rehearse, and it's never the same show, but you rehearse your lines. And like I was on tour, I did a tour, a national tour of Beauty and the Beast, and like we had to do like 3 shows a day, 5 days a week for 6 months. So it's like you're sleeping and you're just hearing like all the lines. So I think I have to be careful, and I think it's a balance between like knowing your lines, knowing the character inside and out, knowing their backstory, knowing how you feel about certain things, but also not being too rigid in your performance, especially when it comes to comedy too. And I studied comedy for a long time, and I feel like the best thing that works is like you should know your character, but you never want to over prepare it. Like I try not to over rehearse something, especially for film. Like I don't want to. I think Viola Davis actually said this too, and I love her. You never want to prepare how you're going to say something to your scene partner, because you don't know what they're going to give you. They might give you something completely different. And she did say this, I remember this. You can't just have what you're ready. And that's another thing that improv has taught me. I did improv with UCB in New York and the Groundlings here in LA, and sketch comedy with CBS. And improv teaches you not to over prepare, like be there, be in the moment, be present, but be ready to roll with the punches. So I feel like you know when you've done enough work, when you can be the character, live in the character, feel like you're the character, answer questions as the character, but just be ready to live in the moment. So I think less is more in that aspect of preparation. Like you can go too far and just, especially with self tapes, since pandemic and everything, like I've seen people do like 20 self tapes and still not like it and want to do, and it's like I feel like then you get into like a stale place, and I do not want that. So I try to prepare but then let it go. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Yes, it does. And because yeah, I agree. People can get too much into it and it can get exhausting. So
Yeah.
they have to monitor what is best for them. And you're right. It's a personal preference. And I love your answer. And I love that you have had improv, and that's why you have such great acting skills, because you've got that theater background. And so yeah, I really loved that answer. Christy Lee, what unusual skills should directors and producers know about you?
um I unusual skills. Well, I can do weird things, like dumb things, like say the alphabet backwards. I used to do this thing when I was little, like a ventriloquist, was like a little girl trapped in my mouth. I've done improv for, I think it's 10 years now. Like I was in a troupe that used to tour around and do like sketch comedy and improv and like do all this kind of like improv. It was really fun, exhausting, but like super fun. And I feel like I think another unusual skill is that on set, I'm not just an actor who's like just the actor. I'm part of a team. And as a filmmaker now, as I've produced and directed these 2 short films, and been in independent film for a long time before this, I can tell you that it is important to me to not bring an ego to the set, because that's toxic. And also, it's not about me. It's about the story. It's about the team. It's about a collaboration. And I'm also not set in my ways. Like if a director is like, actually, I was thinking this, I'm excited to take direction. I can't wait to see what we come up with. Oh yes, let's try that. I didn't even think of that. Let's see where that goes. So I think like overall, not bringing an ego to the set. Leave your baggage at the door, like you do at every other job. They tell you to leave your baggage at the door, and just come to play. And I think I bring a lot of positive energy to the set, and I love to uplift other people and like to encourage other people to shine. I'm not afraid to give people compliments where they deserve it, not kiss their ass, but like give them compliments when it's valid. And then also like lift other people up, you know, make other people feel better and feel like we're all part of this amazing story that we're about to tell.
That's so beautiful. I love your answer. I love, love, love your answer. And so well said. I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. And you mentioned a couple of great um, films that you have produced and directed, and they're on screen right now. I just love these posters. And can you share a little bit about these two films? I'd love to know more about them.
Yeah, sure. So these two films, um, I believe everything starts with the script. You know, if you need a great script, you need a great writer, an amazing writer who can write an incredible story and great characters and dialogue. So I was blessed enough to find these two projects during pandemic. They were both plays. So both of these short films are original plays. Matthew McLachlan wrote Guardian, and Rhea McCallum wrote Asking for It. And so I owe it to them that they even exist. They wouldn't exist without the writers. So those are the playwrights. I thought to myself, these are one act plays. Both of these plays, Guardian and Asking for It, are written for a male lead character. As it was published, the Guardian was a guardian angel named Gabriel, and Asking for It had a male police officer and a female victim. And as I read them individually, this happened separately. It didn't happen at the same time because that would be insane. But they are both on the festival circuit at the same time, and that's also insane. But I'm grateful. So it's been an undertaking, but both of these plays, I asked the playwright, would you mind if I make these a film? And both of them said yes. And then I said, would you mind if I change the lead character from male to female? And with Guardian, Matt was like, oh, he's amazing. He's so brilliant. He was like, I just want to make sure that we're doing, justice for women, and like he wanted to really take care of women and make sure he wasn't showing them in a negative light at all. And I explained to him, hey, women are flawed. Women are human. Women make mistakes. I would be honored to play the role of Gabriel, the guardian angel, and change it to Gabby. So he said yes, and I was able to do it, and it was so fun. And then with Asking for It, same thing. Rhea said yes. She said, actually, when I wrote police officer in the play, I never said it was a male. The publishing house just kind of assumed it was a male because I guess most police officers or people in positions of leadership are men historically. So she said, I'd love you to play the role as a female and change the victim to a male, because frankly, a lot of us are sick of seeing females as victims on screen. Also, there's a lot of survivors involved who wanted to see the story about a satire about how reporting a crime and not being believed takes place. And something with this being so silly as a hit and run, it's like, what would it be like if you tried to report any other crime other than an assault, a hit and run, and they said it was your fault, you caused this. So both are original plays that I was lucky enough to get to adapt, produce, direct, almost by accident, and then star in. So they're both on the festival circuit now, and I'm really grateful that they even got done, because even making a short film is a miracle, and doing it with the team, the teams that I am lucky and blessed to have, is a big deal. So I'm really grateful that they even came together and that they're out there, being played in movie theaters and people are seeing them. And, there's a lot of great people coming up to me at the theater and talking to me about what it meant to them and laughing, and that you can make people laugh at a time, especially during pandemic and during our double strikes. Like, for me, this is a win.
It really is, Christy Lee, and it's beautiful what you shared about both of them. And I love that they're both in the film festival circuit at the same time. I mean, how many people can say that they have two films? Isn't that phenomenal? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of overwhelmed still. It's I had to learn so many things on the fly. I have an amazing producing partner, Chris Vincelette. He was incredible helping me with editing and special effects and production and post-production. And we were working on, he's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. We originally met in New York years ago, so he's a longtime friend. But thank God for him, because we were working together on these films. And then I realized I had to learn what a DCP file was. I didn't know. I'm an actor. Like, we don't know that stuff. You know, I didn't know it. I had to learn how to make a DCP and where to go and how to get it to the theater and which rules at which theater apply, and like all this post-production stuff. And I'm not a technical person really. I'm more of a creative. So this was a challenge. But once I figured out like who can I hire that can do this, then I knew I was in good hands, and I was able to like go forward and do so much research about each festival and say like, okay, we do want to apply to this festival. This is a great one, or this has great reviews, or this has great feedback, or the people are amazing, or the films are amazing, or they have great Q&As and parties. And so collectively, both of them, I think, have been on over 55 international film festivals so far in like 3 years. And then one, Guardian, just got distribution on the Real Women's Network a couple weeks ago. So people can also watch it there, and they celebrate women there. So that's also a really a win. So I'm really grateful, and just excited that, you know, we get to see the films in the theaters. Some of them were virtual, like Vegas. The first time we went to the Las Vegas Women's Festival, which was amazing, the Nevada Women's Film Festival. That one first was virtual, and then the next year, the next film got in, and we got to go in person, which was cool. So some of them were virtual, but it was still just a great experience.
Congratulations, Christy Lee. I mean, this is just so great. How wonderful that, you know, you're doing so well, and, you know, you're representing women so wonderfully. I just want to say thank you for that. And also, speaking of that, you know, how do you feel about uh, the role women play in films? And what's your, you know, do you have a favorite female movie?
Oh God, there are so many. Whenever someone asks me like what's my favorite thing, I like blank, because I'm like, there's so many. I don't want to get it wrong, but there is no wrong. One of my Oh, what was the first question?
How do you feel about women in film? You
Oh,
know, it's so important to me. How about you?
yeah, obviously it's important. Obviously, historically, women have not been represented on screen or behind. Um, One of the organizations that I love so much and got to work for was the Gina Davis Institute on Gender and Media. I started out as a volunteer there, and I just loved all the work they were doing on gender equality and all the events they were putting on and all the data they were sharing. And some of it kind of went above my head at first, but I said, I'm going to make sense of this. And so I kept showing up, and they made a position for me, and I got to work there as the entertainment outreach advisor. And I got to fly out to Bentonville and really see what was going on the ground at the film festival. And so women in film, on screen, behind the scenes, have not been represented. We have made some progress, and you can see the data too, like at the, you know, and there's also women in film and other organizations that are doing great work too. But you can see the data doesn't lie. Historically, women have not been represented. And so we are making some progress, but it's slow moving in my opinion, and it can be a lot better. So that's kind of like the corner that I want to, with the projects that I get to do, that's kind of the corner that I want to advance, is like to help more women. And then as far as like female films, oh my gosh. So one film that I really resonated with is Erin Brockovich. It was like that character, she fought for, you know, people that couldn't fight for themselves, and she fought for justice, kind of like a superhero, kind of like Marvel. And I love Captain Marvel too. I love so many of the movies, but Erin Brockovich really fought for people who couldn't and didn't know that they could fight for themselves. And I feel like that encapsulates who I am at my core. Like I want to like fight for people who deserve justice, you know. And I almost went to law school because of this. I actually got my paralegal degree and then decided to become an actor instead of a lawyer. But yeah, I love that film. I love Barbie, as I said. One of the comedies that I used to watch all the time was Clueless, because that's so fun. She's such a fun character, and it's such a fun comedy, and I feel like it's timeless. And then also Jodie Foster in anything that she does, she's amazing. But in Silence of the Lambs was just like so fearless, you know, and she just crosses genres and can do anything. And it's just like, she's a badass, you know? So I just feel like if I could take all of that and, you know, do any of it, I would be so grateful.
Yes, I love Jodie Foster too, so, so much. And I also love her in True Crime Detective.
Oh my gosh, I love it. It's so good. It's so good.
Yes, yes. I just had to mention that. And we have a lot in common. That's so cool. And I love what you said about women in film. And you're right. It's so, so important. And I love how you're putting your energy towards that. That makes my heart so, so happy. Christy Lee, thank you for that. I have a couple more questions, and then sorry, we're going to have to start wrapping up the show, but I did want to ask you if you have any funny Hollywood stories or connections that you wanted to share.
Um, I mean, I live in LA, so I see and meet lots of people. And to me, I mean, yeah, I don't, I try to just see everyone as a person, but I think like one funny, weird, one funny, weird thing that happened. It's so random. It's like a long time ago, not a long time ago, it was 2012. So like it feels like 5 million years ago. When I first got here, I was shooting this horror movie. Um, it's so funny. It was like a campy horror movie, and I was a pregnant victim. You know, I was like a pregnant woman who was gonna like give birth to demons or something. It was like twin babies that were gonna kill me. Anyway, it's so ridiculous, but it was super fun and a really fun like comedic horror movie. It was just us. It was like a very small crew. I don't even know if there were more than like 10 people, maybe less on set. It was maybe midnight. We were shooting at this like abandoned hospital. It was cool. I don't even know if it's around anymore, but it was like an abandoned hospital. It was super creepy, so creepy. And I was in the middle of takes, you know, giving birth to these demon twins. Um, and I got up and I think I went to use the bathroom, and I think I was going like in the stairwell, and it was just us, like I said, a small crew, indie film, and I bumped into Danny DeVito, and it like so ridiculously random. And I'm thinking to myself, we're in an abandoned hospital. It's like midnight. No one's here. It's dark. And so the first thing I said, and I'm like, I had like fake blood, and I probably looked disgusting. And I was like, what are you doing here? And I think he was like, well, what are you doing here? He was so quick too. Like he was just on it. He was like, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, we're filming a horror movie. And he's like, oh, I'm scouting locations. And I'm thinking to myself, am I dreaming? Like, is this really happening? This is so weird. But he was super cool. He was really nice, and it was really weird.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny because it was just happenstance. You know, it wasn't expected. It came out of, you know, the blue right there, and you handled it really well. So good on you, Christy
I mean,
Lee.
it was like so nice and like down to earth and normal. And I was just like, what is happening? You know, and so I don't even know what he ended up filming, or if he ended up filming there, or if I dreamt the whole thing. But yeah, it was so strange. But I think stuff like that happens. You know, when you're in LA, you bump into people, you meet people all the time. But yeah, most of my experiences, people are people. I try not to get, you know, too involved, or tell stories. Like everyone has a bad day.
Oh yeah.
I have a lot of bad days, so I try not to like. I don't always succeed. I fail, but I try not to judge other people because you never know what they're going through. So I kind of just take it with a grain of salt.
That's so true. Great wisdom. And I agree with you. I'm that same way. Is there anything you would like to promote or give a shout out to?
Sure. Yeah. Actually, they can watch either film, uh, both films. Guardians on the Real Women's Network right now. It just got distribution, and that's a really good way to support women filmmakers. Asking for It is still making its rounds. We were a finalist at the 2024 Hollywood Shorts Fest, which was amazing. It was in such a cool theater on Santa Monica Boulevard. They did a great Q&A, great party. Highly recommend that festival. And we got to talk about it. Afterwards, there was a nice informative Q&A with all of the filmmakers. I was at that panel. I was the only woman on that panel. It was just men and me. And so I kind of had to, I got to talk about how these films evolved. So people can watch Asking for It on the festival. They can support on social media. It's just me. Like, I don't have a, publicist or anything like that. It's just me like grinding out these projects. I have a very exciting project. I can't talk about it yet, but I'm so excited about it. It's actually something that I wrote. These other two projects I love, but I didn't write them. I adapted them and flipped the genders. This one, I wrote it, and I'm very excited about it. And I can't wait to tell you more. And so I would appreciate, all the positive vibes and prayers and just all the good energy my way, because I'm going to be shooting something in about 2 weeks as a test, and I'm really thrilled about it.
I am super excited for you. This is going to be great. It sounds phenomenal. And all the good prayers, all good energies, all good vibes to you, Christy Lee. It's going to be so much fun. You're going to do a great job. It's going to be a great success. And I look forward to, I'd love to have you come back and share when you can, afterwards about it, the production and everything that you went through. I would love, love, love that for you to come back. How's that?
Amazing. I'll definitely keep you posted. Very excited about this one.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait. I just can't wait to hear about it. That is so great. So, Christy Lee, how can people support you and contact you?
Yeah, just I'm here. I'm on social media. I'm on Instagram, and it's just my name, which is my name, Christy Lee Hughes. I'm on Facebook. I'm not really on Twitter X. I'm not on X anymore. I'm on Threads. It's not too hard to find me, which hopefully is a good thing. But it's just my name, and it's just me, so they can support on social media. I would love to collaborate with other like-minded, positive people who want to make good projects, whether it's comedy or drama. Doesn't matter to me. I also love sci-fi. The genre doesn't matter as much as the team and the script. If you have a great script, uh, oh my gosh, that's like a gem. So I'm always open to collaboration and just like also supporting you. Like, let me know how I can support you, and I'm happy to do that.
You are so delightful. You're one of my best guests. I mean, I love them all, but you're absolutely fabulous. And so thank you so much, Christy Lee, for your time today and for your wisdom and your beautiful energy and your wonderful heart. And until next time, Christy Lee, thank you so much. And we'll talk soon. Take care.
Thank you so much, AJ. I really appreciate it. It was great talking to you.